What is good, YouTube? Hey, so I'm back with another reaction or several reactions. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in this world, and well, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that um, we've got some serious problems in the world. I think there's some things that we've got to change. I think there's some political climates that need some shifting. But that's just my thoughts. I digress. The I wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk about a couple things, and um, I wanted to react to this song "Divide and Conquer," but it got me kind of thinking because you see this background, you see this red versus blue, you see the American flag, you see police on the right, and then you see um, protests on the left, and you see all of these very powerful statements just written right here. I feel like this is a moment where you see 1776 sprawled right behind Amy's head. But the bigger thing is, I think before we get into this song, there was a couple questions that I kind of had that I wanted to talk about, because today's political climate is just so insane, crazy, right? Crazy. And you kind of wonder, like, when did all of this stuff first start to unravel? When did when did the country stop being able to actually have a conversation? Is it was it always divided, or is it just something that we're just seeing more of because of things like technology? What were there always lines in the sand that were drawn by people, or were these lines in the sand so invisible that they weren't seen in people's public life? Like, it makes you wonder. It makes you really wonder. It makes it makes me wonder about the nature of fear within politics. Like, how scared are people of a particular ideological stance? If we're divided over things like policy, values, identity as Americans, is it something just deeper than that, or is it just that superficial? Because I can tell you, walking down the street, I'm clearly white. Walking down the street, someone could say, "Yeah, that's just a white guy," but they know nothing about me, and that's a superficial statement. Whereas I can do life with somebody and they could know everything about me. But do we play this sort of political ideology game where the moment that we figure out something about somebody, it instantly becomes a shut off, I want to know nothing about you? Does it say that superficial, or is there always something deeper? Do we feel like the ideology that someone claims to hold, is that going to be the barrier to whether or not you actually talk to that person? Like, these are all questions that I kind of wonder and ask myself. And then it makes me wonder about the missed opportunities to have a conversation because of our own views on someone else's political stance. And I think about this topic was kind of like how everybody likes a different flavor of coffee. I don't like hot coffee. Some people would call me crazy because I don't like hot coffee. I like cold coffee. I like cold brew, not the alcohol, the coffee. Specifically, I like my blonde cold brews and I like my medium roast cold brews, but I don't really like my dark roast cold brews. And so now we're getting into a realm where there might be fighting actions for somebody, and it's coffee. It's coffee. There's going to be differences of opinions. How much cream? How much sugar? I like a little bit of cold brew with my cream and sugar. Is it going to get to the point where we can't even handle having a conversation as to why it is that somebody has the political ideology that they have? I think we're already there. personally. I think we're already at the point where we can't have a conversation with somebody else. I think we're already at the point where someone's political ideology has immediately caused a block in the road, but I also think that it goes both ways. If we're so bold and so brazen to say, I refuse to have a conversation with you because of one appearance, of one statement, but refusing to find out why it is that that one statement applies. I think about, MAGA, Make America Great. What about the MAGA movement do people in the MAGA camp believe that that stands for? Has anybody ever actually talked to them and asked them why it is that they view MAGA as being so influential and so great? And what about the particular things that are happening in the MAGA movement? What about those things made them lean in that direction? What experiences did they have that pushed them to believe what it is that they're believing? And then I wonder the same thing on the other side of the coin, where we've got all the protesting, we've got, most people understand the difference between MAGA and liberals. But is it so far removed to sit and ask to hear a liberal out, to where, someone who is coming from a MAGA camp, what is it that stops people from actually having this conversation? And there's actually a really good book, and no, I'm not sponsored by this guy, but there's a really good book, and I was reading some of his stuff, and I'm pulling it out right now. A guy by the name of Jonathan Haidt actually wrote a book called, oh my gosh, what is it called? The Righteous Mind. And the righteous mind actually goes into the sociological and psychological impacts of people, and why, like, where it is people will land on certain political spectrums based on certain criteria, and what he actually comes to identify, and he actually is able to prove it, is that there's 5 areas in someone's life that are impacted by someone's political stance, or not other way around. There's 5 areas in someone's life that can help determine their political stance. And one of them is care, one of them is fairness, one of them is loyalty, one of them is authority, and then the other one is sanctity. And what he points out is that the first 2, which is care and fairness, actually point to where a liberal stands, where they care about, they voice their concern and their care about people, and they are asking for justice to be spoke over specific situations. And how the other 3, the loyalty, the authority, and the sanctity, and I'll explain the other 3, but I find this just to be so interesting because the loyalty, authority, and the sanctity were seen to have been pointing at someone who's more of a Republican than over a Democrat, or someone who has more conservative values than someone who has more liberal values. And what is interesting is that the loyalty factor speaks to the level of, if somebody actively says that they don't like their country, that goes against the loyalty factor, which when someone in a Republican camp or someone in the MAGA camp hears somebody else say that they don't like the country, it goes against that very strong value that they have, which is a loyalty. And then authority. Do you respect the authority? Do you respect the specifically people who come from like a strong military background? Do you respect the Constitution? Things like that? And while yes, there are some debates when it comes to like the Constitution and the legality of some of the things that have been happening, I just find it to be very interesting how something as simple as disrespecting your father is seen different on one side over the other. And then the last one was sanctity, acting in a degrading or disgusting way. as being like an example of this kind of a situation. The example that it actually had given, where column A kind of like it's like a how much money would you do this thing for? Question 5 says attend a short avant-garde play in which actors act like fools for 30 minutes, including failing to solve simple problems and falling down repeatedly on stage. How likely would you be willing to go? 0 is $0. I'd do it for free. 1 is $100. I'd do it for $100. 2 is 10,000. 3 is 1,000,000. 4 is I would not do this for any amount of money. So if someone was asking you to attend a short avant-garde play in which the actors act like fools for 30 minutes, including failing to solve simple problems and falling down repeatedly on stage, I'd do that for free. I'd go to that thing for free just because it's humorous. But most people, I mean, they may be willing to take some sort of financial, you know, financial, like, you know, the money in order to go watch that. But that spoke to the sanctity, acting in a degrading and disgusting way. Because I put 0, I was more willing to, according to this, I was more willing to slide on the scale of, like, am I willing to stand around while someone else does something that is not necessarily inappropriate, but if someone else makes themselves look bad, would I just be idle by and just watching them do this? And then this one right here, which I put 0 because this one wasn't too bad. But the one that was really bad is the one that is parallels to this, but it goes a little bit more in depth. This one I put I would not do it for any amount of money. Attend a short avant-garde play in which the actors act like animals for 30 minutes, including crawling around naked and grunting like chimpanzees. I would not be willing to attend an avant-garde play like that for any amount of money, because I respect the dignity of people. It's the same reason I wouldn't go to a strip club. And because I put 4 and that I wouldn't be willing to do that, it puts me in the realm of having a more conservative view on something like sanctity. And so as I went through this and as I was reading this, one of the things that I found to be the most interesting is that this man, his name is Jonathan Haidt, he proves and can prove that both sides are unwilling to talk to each other, because one side cares about fairness and compassion and care about other people, and the other side has lower scores of the ability to focus care on people and the ability to care about what's fair. They care more about loyalty, authority, and sanctity, which I found to be really interesting, because he proves in his book why it is that this political divide keeps on getting bigger. And I just found it to be so interesting that my wife released this song around the same time that I was actually reading this book, and I just ordered the book. I'm going to read the whole book. I only read 2 chapters, and in those 2 chapters he proved exactly why it is we're having such a hard time getting through to people. Why it is that one side can't stand to be around the other side. It's because those values, that caring and that fairness, if the other side or somebody else doesn't have that same value, or on this side, if this side doesn't have the loyalty, the respect for authority, or the sanctity for human lives, they don't want to have a conversation with them either. And what I find to be interesting is that when I took the whole test, I was like a 30-something question test. I scored, and let me kind of give you the breakdown of this. People who scored higher on the care and fairness tended to lean more liberal, and they would oftentimes have scores that were lower on the loyalty, authority, and sanctity. But then you flip it for the other way, so loyalty, authority, and sanctity were higher for people who happened to be more conservative, and they were lower on the side of caring and fairness. What's interesting about this and about the test that I took is that all of my scores were even and they were all high, which I find to be very interesting because of like where I stand. But mine were all above the average for across the board, and they were only within a couple points of each other, and we're talking about a scale of 30, and they're all within several points of each other. And so it makes me wonder, okay, if what Jonathan Haidt is saying is true, then maybe there are people who can stand in the center and can be a bridge and can look at this side and say, I understand you, and then look at this side and say, I understand you. Now let me get both of you in the same room, let me get both of you at the table, and let me help you work this out, because something clearly ain't happening. You feel like this person doesn't care, you feel like this person has no respect. Let's figure out what you do have in common. And I feel like there are people who can play that role in life, and this proved it. This proved it. And I'm so excited to read that book, and I had to share it with you because we're going into a song that literally says, divide and conquer, we are the monsters. So I really enjoy being able to see on both sides. And I know some people might say, you enjoy watching this division. No, that's not what I said. What I said is I really enjoy being able to see into the lives of other people. If I can see into the lives of other people and understand where they're coming from, then maybe there are people who can stand in the middle, take a little bit of punches on both sides, and still be able to walk away saying, both of you are my friends. Because I've got friends on both sides of the coin that are destroying each other and they don't even know each other. How much would it benefit society for the two of them to actually become friends? How much would it benefit them? It would be so cool to know that my friends didn't hate each other. But that's not the world we live in right now. We live in a world where very few people have equal scores across the board. We live in a society where very few people can see into both sides of the coin. And I'm sitting here screaming, stop the division, and yet my voice isn't enough. But maybe one voice of reason could be enough to start a conversation. Maybe. Just maybe. So with all that being said, we're gonna get into this reaction. It's called "Divide and Conquer." We're All Monsters by Amy Tyler. Amy Tyler. Sounds creepy. That was a creepy laugh.
America, you dress your demons in designer suits, and now you wonder why the children shoot.
Ooh.
We're the monsters you made. Left and right swing like a wrecking crew, punch and piss like a Model 2, caps lock on back, boxes screw, but the truth's like loot, they never let you loot. Red pill, blue pill, pick your side now, we bleed start from a war inside. Uncle Sam's in a penthouse, live and wide, while the media spikes the cyanide. With game board and Facebook posts, but President Brad where the proudest goes. Pulling the sissies off your hate, you're the weapon, and in your plate. Divided, randomly got blinded, marching straight to silence. Fighting while the tyrants dying to stop the spread, break the code, don't look up and take control. Where the fire they fear most, unity, ghost in the polls. Twitter thugs and designer memes, spitting venom for the party teens, but we all drink from the same streams and drown when they poison our dreams. Dim shell freedom, reps say rights, but nobody walking Christ like. They free speech, but for all the fight is profit off a day and night. Left hook, right eye, both sides blind. Who's gonna rise? Time to unify. I'm the calm in the chaos with the monsters grin. Machiavellian, but I bleed within. Politicians like over the mortal sin. Stack sin. Y'all beef like Bloods and Crips and tweets, but your block still broke, no food to eat. Keyboard killers, rich elite, then log off when the block gets heat. I ain't left or right, I'm the whole damn spine, trying to hold it up when we out of line. Both sides dance while the rich all die and the devil's laughing, sipping his wine. Moms and masks on both the screens, but we the movie, they cut the scenes. Subliminal ads and your vaccine means, but hate got worse than COVID dreams. I'm the fed up fan with a flamethrower mic, low voice cut like switchblade strike, drop bars like bricks in a simple fight, like scroll beats in a scripted plight. Kings of elephants, donkeys too, both sides playing like they love you, but we just fuel to a Wall Street coup, divided tribes that they profit through. Broke blue collar, redneck scholar, all your puppets make them holler, but we the power if we bother to link our hands, not kill each other. We the kids they warned about in church, now grown, burnt out. Hearts still hurt, America's dressed in bloodstained skirts while the court jesters tweets of dirt. Don't tell me both the only voice, if both choice is poison choice. I want truth, not party, noise, and peace, then silence can't destroy. Hear the light, they divided, red and blue now blinded. Marching straight to silence, fighting while the tyrants die to stop the script, break the code. Don't let puppets take control. We're the fire they fear most, unity, ghost in the polls. A house divided.
Yeah. It will fall. It will fall. All right, we're gonna take it back here, cause there was some bars in here that I really want to talk about, and before we do that though, like, I want to preface this with, there are certain things that people, I think, forget on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly. Like, we forget often that we are all human beings. They forget that we literally have the same bodily functions. Our heart beats the same. There is a reason that they don't use different devices to capture things like your blood pressure, your pulse, your oxygen level. There are reasons why the same type of IV fluids are used for everybody. There's a reason why the same type of blood bag, well, be it is different, can be different types of blood. There's a reason that blood transfusions exist for people who need the blood. There is a reason that we all use toothpaste, or I hope you use toothpaste, when you brush your teeth. It's because it works. It's because we all have teeth. And if we don't have teeth, denture cream is pretty darn close. Okay? So, what I'm trying to get at is, we literally bleed the same. And if we literally bleed the same, why the hell do you treat people so differently? Why? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that. And you think about, like, the greed that comes from the top down, and the images that come out of Hollywood that make people feel like they need to be something that they're not. That pressure, that peer pressure, the paparazzi pressure, none of it is cute. None of it. It destroys people's lives. None of it's adorable. You may think that the person with a size 00 pant size and all dolled up is cute in the public eye, but I'm sure behind closed door they're pretty freaking miserable. We all live the same kind of life, and yet there are a few people making it really bad for the rest of people, and all they're doing is saying, hey, you see that person who thinks a little bit differently? Go hate that person. But they don't realize that the person who they're telling to go hate that other person to is just the same as the person they're telling them to go hate. It's the same person. Same situation. They both want the same things. It's control. They're controlling people. Yeah, so let's get into the lyrics here.
America, America, you dress your demons in...
You dress your demons in designer suits. You all know that one. I don't even have to spell that one out for
designer
you.
Suits. And now you wonder why the children...
And now you wonder why the children shoot. Okay, so she's comparing the demons in designer suits to the reason why children shoot. And you think about some of the laws that are passed. You think about some of the lack of gun reform, the lack of and to be very clear, because I know that last statement would make some people mad. I'm pro-gun, but I'm also pro-gun reform. I'm both and. You don't have to choose. I don't want our kids to continuously get a hold of weapons and bring pew-pews to school and do something that they're going to regret in the future. Or, for just being super blunt, opt out of their own life. That breaks my heart. The thought of that breaks my heart. So for that reason, yeah, we absolutely need some sort of gun reform. Absolutely. But does that infringe on the rights of the Second Amendment? No, that doesn't. It just means that you may have an extra step to go through to keep other kids safe. And guess what? If you care more about your weapon, about your pew-pew, than you do about someone else's kid, I would really start thinking about your own priorities in life.
We're the monsters you made.
Yep. We're the monsters you made. Just like I was saying, they literally sit here and tell you to go hate somebody else, but that other person that they're telling you to go hate is just like you are.
Left and right swing like a wreck.
Left and right swing like a wrecking crew. Ooh. Swing like a wrecking ball. Punching pixels like it's... Oh. Punching pixels like it's Mortal 2. Oh my gosh. I get that one. Punching pixels. Sending out tweets. Influencing over technology. It's like Mortal Kombat 2.
Crew, punching pixels like Mortal 2. Caps lock, cock back.
Alright, caps lock, cock back. I mean, that's like couple things I can think of. All caps. Yelling at people. Facts get skewed. But the truth's like loot. They never let you loot. The truth's like a treasure. But they never let you take the truth. Oh! But the truth's like treasure, but they never let you take the truth. That's how I interpret that.
This group of the truth's like loot. They never let you loot. Red pill, blue pill.
Red pill, blue pill, pick your side. Now we bleed in stars from a war inside. Yep. Pick your poison. Pick your side. But those 50 stars on that flag, all of them are bleeding. Because there's a war within America.
Now we bleed start from a war inside. Uncle Sam's in a penthouse laughing.
Uncle Sam's in a penthouse laughing wide. Oh man. Ain't that the truth? While the media spikes the cyanide. Oh boy. Oh boy, the media makes it worse. Amy, you attacking the media right now.
Why? While the media spikes the cyanide. With gang war in a Facebook post.
We're gang warring in a Facebook post. Yeah, that's the truth. Burning bridges, then brag. We the proud. Oh my gosh. And those bridges that are burning, oh man, it just makes the divide so much worse. And people do brag about it. They do go to their Facebooks and they tweet about how they just screwed somebody over that's on the opposite side of the coin, but they don't realize they just screwed themselves over in the midst of doing that.
Brag where the proudest goes. But when the system feeds off your hate.
But when the system feeds off your hate, yep, you're the weapon and they the dinner plate. They're eating you alive. They're eating you alive. You have become their pawn. Doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on. Oh, I just rhymed.
You're the weapon and your plate.
Where the monsters they divided, red and blue now blinded. Yep.
Red and blue now blinded. Marching straight to silence. Fighting while the tyrants dying and stop the script, break the code. Don't.
Alright, stop the script, break the code, don't let the puppets take control. Oh!
Puppets take control. Where the fire they fear most. Unity, ghost in the poles.
Yep.
Twitter thugs and designer memes. Spitting venom for the party teens, but we all
Yep, Dems yell freedom, reps say rights. That's what I was talking about. They're fighting for fairness, fighting for people who are oppressed, and then the loyalty, the authority, the yep. But nobody walk in Christ's light.
But nobody walk in Christ's light. They preach peace, but provoke the fight. It's profit off.
They preach peace, but provoke the fight. It's profit off pain day and night. Ooh. Ooh.
Day and night. Left hook, right lie.
Left hook, right lie. So the left is punching, and the right is just sitting there lying as if they didn't have anything to do with it. Both sides blind. Who's gonna rise? Time to unify. I like that last one. Time to unify.
Both sides blind. Who's gonna rise? Time to unify. I'm the calm in the cans with a monster's grin. Machiavelli by the bleed within. Politicians lay over the mortal sin. Stack deck, but the deal is in. Y'all beef like Bloods and Crips and tweets, but your flock still broke, no food to eat. Keyboard killers, preach elite.
Keyboard killers preach elite, then log off when the block gets heat. Oh my gosh. People will speak up, they will preach their view, and then they will log off when they start facing the heat and act like they never did anything wrong. In other words, the 3 a.m. tweets in the bathroom.
Log off when the block gets heat. I ain't left or right, I'm the whole damn spine trying to hold.
I ain't left or right. There you go. I'm the whole damn spine trying to hold it up when we get out of line. Yeah. Yep. There.
Up when we out of line. Both sides dance while the rich all dine, and the devil's laughing, sipping his wine. Moms and masks on both the screens, but we the movie, they cut the scenes. Subliminal ads and your vaccine means, but hate got worse than COVID dreams. I'm the fed up fan with a flamethrower mic. Low voice cut like.
I'm the fed up fan with a flamethrower mic. Oh. Low voice cut like a switchblade strike.
Switchblade strike, drop bars like bricks in a simple fight. Waste phone feeds in a scripted play. Kings of elephants, donkeys too. Both sides.
Gangs of elephants, donkeys too. Elephants and donkeys, get it? The Republican and the Democrat. Both sides playing like they love you. Oh my gosh. Both sides playing like they love you.
Like they love you, but we just fuel to a Wall Street.
But we're just fuel to a Wall Street coup. Divided tribes, that's what they profit through. Woo!
Coup divided tribes that they profit through. Broke blue collar, redneck scholar, all your.
Alright, broke blue collar, redneck scholar, which both of these right here, broke blue collar, these are oxymorons. Well, not really oxymorons, but they're more like complementary oxymorons. Broke blue collar, because blue collar workers shouldn't have to be living like they're broke. And redneck scholars, I mean, I don't know of very many rednecks who have a PhD or a master's degree. And so both of these are super, like, ironic, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that there are no rednecks who have masters and PhDs and are educated, but they have street smarts. They don't have book smarts. Whereas the blue collar tends to be a little bit different. So it's just interesting. There's a play on words and terminology there. All y'all puppets make them holler. Yep.
Puppets make them holler, but we the power. If we bother to link our hands, not kill each other. We the kids they warned about and tricked out, grown, burnt out. Hearts still hurt, America's dressed in bloodstained skirts while the court jesters tweets of dirt. Don't tell me vote's the only voice. If both choice is poison choice. I want truth, not party noise, and peace and silence can't destroy the lives they divided. Red and blue now blinded. Marching straight to silence. Fighting while the tyrants die to stop the script. Break the code, don't let puppets take control. We're the fire they fear most. Unity, ghost in the polls. A house divided.
Fall. Yep. House divided will fall. A house divided will absolutely fall flat on its face. We gotta stop being divided, guys. Stop it. It's not fun. Stop it. No more divide. No more division. No more fighting with your neighbor because you don't agree politically. In fact, if someone that you view as an enemy If someone is in your life, or you've talked to somebody who is considered an enemy to you, why don't you invite them over for dinner? Why don't you invite them over for coffee? Or go out to a restaurant or go out to a coffee shop. Do something with that person. Because I'll bet you anything that you're going to find something that you did not know about that person. And I know this from experience. There have been a lot of moments where somebody who I considered an enemy was no longer an enemy because I took the time to get to know them and why it is that they view the things the way that they view things. Sometimes it's not always about understanding 100% of what you think you know about them, but it's also the other side of it is they're a lot deeper than you give them credit for. And so, yeah, let's stop the division, yo. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it for America, it ain't worth it for the world, and it's definitely sure the hell ain't worth it for your heart. So, have a great day, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye!